Many best practices were created for a world that no longer exists. And when I speak to educators, police organizations around the world, you have some very esteemed police officers in this room with us today. When I speak to major organizations globally, I say, help me understand how in many major policing organizations, we take a group of people who've committed to serve, train them for 6 to 8 months, the whole time beat the shit out of them, telling them they're pieces of shit, to prepare them for the worst. Why do we do that to people? Because there's no data to support that that works, not a single shred of evidence. The response is often what one of my heroes, Grace Murray Hopper, says, and I think this is so true. She said this: the most dangerous phrase in the English language is "it's always been done this way." And what happens is, when we don't know what to do as a parent or as a couple, we just go back to what we know because we don't got a script for any other way. You can't give away something you've never received, you see. What hasn't changed is this concept of emotional regulation. The definition is how not to lose your friggin' mind. When you are in an emotionally regulated state, you have access to your good. All the best parts of you. When you fall in love with somebody, you have access to your good. Let me give you the neurophysiology behind this, okay? Put your hand up like this. Put your thumb on the inside. Wrap your fingers around your thumb. This is a hand model of your brain. My friend Dan Siegel taught me this, and it changed everything as a mom and a wife, okay? Now, take a look over. She's about the same size of the brain that's currently sitting in your skull. Okay, some of you guys got bigger brains than others, and size doesn't matter, sir, okay? So it fits in your head like this, all right? So your arm represents your spinal cord, your wrist is your brainstem. Flip your fingers up. Look inside your brain, tuck your finger in. So that's your limbic system, okay? You are given 3 regulation strategies for free: fight, flight, and freeze. People are making all kinds of shit up, like fawn and other fucking F words. Fight, flight, and freeze. That's all we got, okay? Let's not make her complicated. It fits in the middle part of your brain. That's the most primitive parts. We develop as humans from the inside out, okay? What separates humans from most other mammals is we have a prefrontal cortex that wraps around the limbic system. This is where everything you've ever learned in your life lives. It lives right above your balls, okay? Your eyeballs. In here is everything you've ever learned. How to be kind. The middle name to your mother-in-law. The PIN number to your bank card. The first childhood phone number you ever had. If you speak any language, they all live up there. Play a musical instrument, they all play up there, or they all live up there. If you play a sport, your best golf swing lives right there. And Dan Siegel said, I want you to think about this like a lid. When your lid is on, you have access to everything you've ever learned in your life, okay? If you have your own personal child and you look at them and you're proud of them, yeah? They're using their words, or they're being kind to probably somebody else other than you, and you're like, oh, there's hope. Their lid is on. If you've ever went on a second date in your life, you chose to go on that second date because your prospective partner's lid was on. Right? Have you ever heard this? She's flipped her lid. He's lost his friggin' mind. Huh? This is true of all of us. We flip our lid. And when we're in a state of lid flip, we have no capacity to learn or to communicate. We have no access to the best parts of ourselves. When you bring a baby home from the hospital, how do they let you know what they need? They flip their lid. They lose their friggin' mind because they got nothing in that prefrontal cortex. They can't say, I need my bum changed, or could you tell grandma to stop speaking? She's annoying as fuck. Like, they don't have that capacity. So they just cry. And our job is to decode that and put that lid back on. There's a universal response to a crying infant. This is what's fascinating to me. Regardless of age, race, religion, socioeconomic status, or gender identity, if I put a crying infant in any one of your arms, in fact, this is true. If we dropped into Afghanistan or Southeast Asia or Korea or Richmond, same. If you're out frolicking in Vancouver and you're by yourself, you got no phone, and you just go with it, this is a little fucked up, but you come upon an infant in a car seat, you are neurophysiologically wired to pick that baby up. You can't just walk by and be like, oh, fuck, I hope somebody gets that one. When you pick that up, even if you've never held an infant in your life, your automatic response is a rhythmic exchange from big person to little person. Shh. It might look awkward, but there is a rhythmic exchange that occurs. Every single human responds the same way. Why? I'll tell you the answer. What is the first sound everybody in this room felt first? Bum, 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 bum. The rhythmic exchange from your mama to you. And whether she's alive or you have a relationship with her or not, your understanding of emotional regulation is in your bones. You're good at this. And it often happens without words. And it needs to happen face to face to be most effective. I can't text an infant, calm down. Right? If you think about the times that you've been in your most distressed state, when nobody's got you, what you don't need is somebody to tell you what to do. It's going to be okay. It's fine. You know what? She was 72. We had the best years with her. Okay? Good. Let's plant a tree. Maybe fucking journal. We want to get you back into that state because the people we love, we don't want them to hurt. And what we miss so much is this critical piece that we all need on this planet. We will never automate this. The new AI, the AI that won't get old, is authentic interaction. I need to know I matter. We'll never automate that. Because as my friend, he's not my friend, God, I wish I knew him, dead guy, philosopher, Ram Dass said this. These are if you remember nothing from this talk, here's the words that changed my life, and the thing that I do, everything that this brand stands for is this. He said these words: we are all just here walking each other home. That's it. Full stop. Nobody gets out of here alive. Your most profound legacies will be centered around the moments when you become the walker for another. And you do this beautifully. If you're a therapist, you do this every day. If you're a police officer, this is your job. If you are a parent, if you're a partner, if you're a human. And at many times we require a walker and a walkie. I remember when I was holding my baby in the NICU, and I had my husband's arm around me, and my mom had her arms on my husband. I was walking my baby. I got it, honey. It's gonna be okay. I didn't know that to be true. And I needed both of them to do the walking. We were never meant to do this alone, you see. And when we're in a state of emotional dysregulation, here's the three things that will be on board: uncertainty, fear, and no end in sight. That is how we lose access to our good. You think about, you hear the word cancer, or I'm leaving you, or we're in financial distress, or I've had an affair. Uncertainty, fear, no end in sight means we lose access to the best parts of us, not who we are, our capacity. We lose access to it. Think about the three components of a global pandemic. I mean, people say to me all the time as a psychologist, is the global pandemic, it's over, huh? Pandy's over. I don't know if you heard about her. We're good. Moving on. Woo! We will pay the price for what happened on this globe for the remainder of our lifetimes. We will witness the result of, for the physical safety of communities as a globe, separating people, losing access to funerals, weddings, breakups, workplace meetings. You can't tell the next generation how to be a great leader over Zoom. You gotta show them. And when we take a break in that regard, we will forever see the ramifications. The three components of a global pandemic are uncertainty, fear, no end in sight. As a globe, we've been in a heightened state of arousal. People say, why are we in a mental health crisis, a loneliness epidemic? Why are kids killing themselves at faster rates? Why are they all on social media? Because we spend the vast majority of our days like this. The hardest thing you will do is look into the eyes of the people you love. And when we have so many exit ramps, you see, we spend most of our time at work these days. If not physically at work, we're emotionally at work a lot of our times because we have so much access to other people. We often feel much more competent at work than we do at home. Yeah? Do you feel this to be true? I wrote a best-selling book called Kids These Days. Fucking amazing, if I do say so myself, around parenting and teaching. It's fucking great, no? If you watch me with my own personal child, you wouldn't buy the book. I am much better at telling you what to do than doing it my own self, you know? This is true for all of us, so we tend to feel more competent outside of the walls where we will be the most important. Because the job of people in our own homes, the chaos is necessary to learn the calm. Every relationship that matters will have conflict. Our capacity to navigate it is the skill that matters most. In fact, oh my God, can I tell you this story real quick? I met John and Julie Gottman yesterday. I know some people are not impressed by that, or maybe you are, but I was just like, holy fuck. These are the two gurus of emotional regulation in relationships, okay? They checked into this hotel. Apparently they're here. I'm going to stalk them. I'll let you know if I find them. And what happens in this regard is after 45 years of marital research, they would say this: the greatest predictors of couples that make it and couples that don't is one thing. Not how much sex you have, not how much money you have, not how much you are alike or different, or how many children you have or don't have, is your capacity to repair. And you cannot learn that skill in isolation. If you've been told your whole life, suck it up, you're fine. Boys don't cry. You're good, huh? You're good? We're good. Everybody's good. Fuck, we're good. You're good? You're still good. It becomes very difficult. If nobody's never, ever apologized to you, you can't give it away. Our capacity to get back to the good becomes so critically important in this regard, because what we see, where we spend the most amounts of our time, is this phenomenon that has been there for 50 years called burnout. Freudenberger came up with this concept in 1974. This is not new, it has nothing to do with the pandy. He was studying a drug-addicted population at the time. He's a dead German psychologist. And what he was looking into was what happens, why do people use substance excessively? Why do they check out from their lives? How come their kids, their families, how come that's not enough to keep them present? And so what he was looking at is when people felt incompetent, when they felt no hope, when they felt useless in a respective role, they would numb. To escape, the futility would set in. And he started to learn that that is true in organizations. When people started to feel futile, what's the point? Oh my God, I'm not making a difference. Everybody thinks I'm failing or I'm an asshole. Burnout starts to take over. Used to, because we're wired to do hard things. We're wired to help people through their hardest things and serve them in our companies and our communities. We were just never meant to do it alone. And the more disconnected we become, we see an increase in burnout, particularly in those of us trying to be the walkers in professions like therapists and first responders and teachers. When we're exhausted, the people we serve don't stand a chance.